Today's video is going to be about the do's and don'ts for having a roommate, and at the end I'm going to tell a couple of stories and just a disclaimer for at the beginning. I do still like all of my roommates, I still talk to all of my roommates, and these stories are just examples, and I'm not saying that I hate my roommates or anything like that. So if you need more explanations, just let me know in the comments below, because I am going to try to keep this video short so that I can tell stories at the end. Start with the positives. We're going to start with the do's because these are really important things that you should do before and after you have a roommate. So first, you should talk to your roommate before you move in, because there's nothing more awkward than moving in with somebody that you're going to have to live with for the next 9 months and not knowing anything about them at all. And so I recommend, finding them on Facebook. That's not creepy. Emailing them, you get their CW emails when you find out your roommate situation, so you should email your roommate. And this way you can see if you have anything in common, and also so you can coordinate your stuff so that you both don't bring ginormous TVs, because you won't both be able to fit your ginormous TVs in your room. Only one of them will fit, mostly because there's only one cable box or cable hookup, so there's no reason to bring two TVs. Next, okay, so this kind of goes hand in hand, but this is more of after you guys have moved in, trying to break the ice. It's important to do this because, again, you're going to be living with them for 9 months, so you might as well get to know them a little bit now that you guys have moved in. And here are a couple ways that you could break the ice. First, viral YouTube videos. Everybody has seen the majority of these videos, so the chances are your roommate has seen it and likes it, or hasn't seen it and will like it anyway. So this will just kind of start a conversation. It's funny, shows that you both have a good sense of humor, and then also then they can show you a video, you can show another one, it leads you to down this bunny trail of conversation or whatever. This way you kind of have something to talk about later. Next, going to the Wildcat shop together. I'm not saying that you guys have to like go holding hands or skipping or whatever down to the Wildcat shop, but maybe walk down there together, go get your books, your textbooks. If your roommate has already gotten his or her textbooks, then they can go check them or pick them up upstairs in Circ 121 or 122. They change it every year. But this way, you guys can go do something together. And you can walk down there together, go get your books separately, and then walk back together. That way, you've done something together and it's not totally awkward. And then next, both of you probably don't have a ton of friends here at college yet. Maybe you know a couple people from high school, or somebody you talked to on Facebook beforehand, you met through this group or whatever. Go to dinner with each other, meet some more people that they know, and maybe you guys will find out that you like each other's friends at least. So then you can hang out and have somebody in common that you guys like, which is good. Next, okay, be courteous. This is really, really important, because if you are an uncourteous roommate, you're just going to piss the other roommate off, and they're not going to be very nice to you. Courtesy is just going to stop both ways, and then it's just going to be a whole lot of negative Nancy-ness going on, and you don't want that. And then next, this kind of goes with it. Give your roommate space if they need it. This is really important my freshman year. My roommate and I did spend a lot of time together, and so I'm going to go into the story later in the story section afterwards. I feel like the don'ts are almost more important than the do's, just because you can almost get away with having a good roommate situation without doing all those do's, but if you do a lot of the don'ts, then it's just not going to work out very well. So number one, don't be the messier roommate. And I probably was the messier roommate in most situations, but it wasn't like, you know, things that you shouldn't do, like leave your nasty underwear out, have rotten food, never take your trash out, or anything like that. I just, when I got ready and did homework and stuff, I like to, just like spread my stuff out, and then, later I would pick it up. But yeah, don't be the messier roommate. That's bad. It's just, it's unhealthy. It's not hygienic. It's gross. Don't be smelly either. That's also bad. Um, you should not leave notes for your roommate. And I'm not saying like if you want to leave like a nice note, that's totally fine. But don't leave a note like, "Hey, Joe, please turn your music off before you leave. Thanks, bro," or something like that, because it can be taken kind of passive aggressive. and you don't want to do that, it's a lot easier to just, like, when your roommate gets back, be like, hey Joe, could you just turn your music off before you leave? Because I just don't want to touch your laptop if, that's not cool or something like that. Then it's not a big deal. Then it sounds like you just, want to respect their space and not touch their stuff. And it's not a big deal. It's not a huge thing. So, but if you leave a note, it can become a huge deal. Then it can become like a battle back and forth, and you don't want to do that. That's not cool. And then next, okay, don't be that guy or girl. Don't be the person that stays up till 3 a.m. playing video games or starts their homework at 11 o'clock at night and your roommate's trying to sleep, or talks on the phone to their boyfriend until 3 a.m. or girlfriend. Don't be that person, because that's just not courteous. So it kind of goes back to the whole be courteous. These next sets of don'ts are pretty common. First, I feel like this is more common for girls. Don't necessarily expect to be besties. It's really common for girls to have this fantasy from, all the movies and all that kind of stuff, to think that you and your roommate are going to have like slumber parties every night and, talk about boys all the time and take all the same classes and share clothes and all that kind of stuff. That's not necessarily how it's going to work. That's great if that ends up working, that's awesome, but a lot of times when you live with somebody that you become really good friends with, you kind of get on each other's nerves because you spend so much time together. You spend all your time outside of your room together and all of your time inside of your room together. So you got to be careful with that. And then also you might end up with a roommate that you don't have very much in common with. So don't be disappointed if that's a situation. In that case, you just need to be the kind of roommates that respect each other and, have an understanding of how to live together. Be fine with having conversations with each other because, chances are you have something in common, or you can at least help each other out with math homework and English homework and whatever. So, but don't expect to be besties necessarily, because you could be letting yourself down when you find out that, you aren't going to be besties. And that is a bummer, but you just got to be aware of that. And then last but not least, don't be afraid to have a conversation with your roommate. And this can go in two different ways. First, don't be shy. Like, there's no reason to be shy, because this is the person you're going to be living with for 9 months. You're going to get to know each other really, really well. Maybe too well in some situations, but for the most part, just don't be shy. And I mean, this is college, so it's kind of the time to reinvent yourself. So if you're generally a shy person, maybe break out of your shell a little bit, have your door open, get to know people, and get to know your roommate too. So that's one way that it could go. It could also go in a different way, and I kind of already covered this. With, if there's an issue, don't be afraid to have a conversation, because it's a lot easier to just bite that issue in the butt right then and there than to let it fester, get worse, figure out there's something else that pisses you off about your roommate. Then it's this whole long list of about a million different things that your roommate does that ticks you off, all because you didn't have the conversation about turning off your music before you leave. So these are two real quick stories. The first one I talked about earlier, and that was just like, not spending too much time with your roommate. My roommate and I were really good friends, and we had all of the same friends. We spent all of our time together, so we kind of got burnt out on each other. And the way that we remedied that was just making sure that we did spend some time apart. And we did that by me going to the gym right before she got back from classes. That way she had plenty of time to unwind after her classes and had time away from me, and I had time away from her. And that was really good. And then, if she wanted to go hang out with somebody, I just didn't get my feelings hurt because I knew that, we needed separate time. This next story is just like, it didn't really fit in anywhere, but it's an example of, like double standards with roommates, which happens a lot, and then also a really easy fix if I had just talked to my roommate about it. So my roommate would interrupt me on a pretty regular basis when I was doing my homework to ask me questions about her homework, different things like that. And I didn't really mind this, except that when I would stop her from doing her homework because I had a question, then that would really tick her off. So I didn't talk to her about it because I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but then it kind of turned into one of those things where it just kind of festered, things got built up on it, and it just turned into a not very good situation, and it would have been really easy to remedy if I had just talked about it in the first place. So talk to your roommates about issues. So I hope that this video was really helpful to you guys. If you have more questions, I didn't explain something well enough, leave your comment in the comment section below. And if you have a really specific question about maybe your roommate, feel free to leave me a message on Facebook. It's not creepy or anything like that. Thanks, guys.